Nigerians are taking to the streets to protest police brutality in their country. For over a week, demonstrators have called on the government to implement major policing reforms. The protests were triggered by a police unit known as the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, otherwise known as SARS. Demonstrators say the SARS team has been responsible for beatings and even deaths against innocent people. At least 10 people have been killed in the protests at the hands of the police. Solidarity marches have been held in places all over the world, including in Toronto.
Like, it was just a peaceful protest.
They're a rogue unit being used by higher ups in the political hierarchy to get their dirty bidding done. I was living in Nigeria for about 18 years, up until I turned 18, and then I came to Philadelphia for college.
I lived in Nigeria for 16 years of my life before coming to school.
SARS is just a subunit of the National Police Force back home, the NPF. And what SARS stands for is Special Anti-Robbery Squad, right? And so the name is very telling of their initial purpose, which was, create a band of highly skilled professional police agents who go into tough scenarios and, well, bring peace, arrest guys who are stealing either through cybercrime or, just stealing at night, like physical robbery. And they were actually established in 1992 under Sani Abacha's regime. And he was a military leader. Fast forward to 2005, they start killing people, maiming people, and there's a bit of uproar, but not too much. Fast forward 10 years later to 2015, where we had our election, switching from Goodluck Jonathan to Mohamed Buhari. They were back again, but now in greater fashion, where they're maiming people, trying to crack down on cybercrime. But instead of going to computers and through new technologies to solve cybercrime, they were cracking down on young boys who look well, who have a nice watch on, who was driving a nice car with a laptop in the front seat. And so in their bid to crack down on cyber crimes and even robbery as well, they just twisted the whole thing. And now you have these agents, plainclothes still, who also, by the way, get drunk on the job and they're handling rifles. Now they're stopping a young man going to work or going back home with his laptop to work. And they're saying, hey, open your phone, show me your bank accounts. I need to see how much you're making, just because there's that lack of trust. And also because there was a lack of accountability from the top down in the police force. And that just spells so much misfortune for the regular folks back home who are just trying to find, like I said, their daily bread and find money to sustain themselves. I believe the turning point was the engagement from Nigerians in the diaspora. And what the diaspora is just Nigerians abroad, right? You find out that in Philadelphia, there's a healthy community of Nigerians spread out, professionals as well. And they created a group chat, and social media played a huge role. Now you have an Instagram account saying NSARS Philadelphia. And now you have over 100 people walking down from City Hall down to the Art Museum, just creating awareness. And you saw this in Chicago, New York, London, Belgium, China, Asia. And, that also opens a can of worms that shows that Nigerians have to leave Nigeria to be successful or have a chance at a regular life. I think the major push for 2020 was COVID. With COVID coming in, people had to stay home, sit on their hands. And it's like, I should be doing way much better than I am financially. The government should be giving me more. And so you found people hungry, you found people just without work, without the ability to move around and provide. And then the stress begins to pick up. Nigerians tend to take things with, especially bad things, with a levity, because using humor to go through the pain usually helps them. And so COVID just opened our eyes to the reality that the government isn't doing what they should be doing. And so you had people very upset, very on edge, very angsty, and then they killed somebody. Someone lost their life, and that was it. The youth were out in full force.
With the riot that happened back in October, and a riot actually happened near my house, 10 minutes away from my house. So before, it was just a peaceful protest, and people were just joyful and all, but then they now brought the police, and like it now went out of control. There was other ways to that the issue could have been resolved instead of people's lives being lost.
There's a spirit of camaraderie between fellow citizens, which on one hand is very nice to see, but you rather see that in terms of economic growth or getting along on a normal day. But yeah, it was the citizens that had to help each other. The main demand was disband this rogue unit of police, right? But you see that the uprising was so wild and so far spread, that you can't, there's more things underneath. So just the way the politics has been played back home for the past 20 years, right? The fact that there's poor education, no schools, all these little things tied into the rage that was felt. In 2015, like I said, after the change in power, people were dealing with SARS. Even in 2017, we had protested, but on a smaller scale, and nothing changed. It's nothing new. We've seen it before in Nigeria, but that's the problem. We've seen it before, and we've kind of been desensitized to it, and so that's what's changing now. It's like, yeah, we've seen it before, but we're choosing to not ignore it. We're choosing to not roll with that punch. I come from a middle-class family, and I had to be very aware of that. And when we spoke earlier about my background, being in America for 5 years, juxtaposing where I stood in America with where I was back home, I could see my privilege. The government doesn't treat the people well.
Honestly, with the world's disparity, like the gap between the rich and the poor is like very far. Well, a better economy, definitely less corruption, and like for the stars to be like understood, and people should like understand, like especially the government to understand like what they did, and the impact they had on the lives of the many people that died as well. So pretty much just more peace.
There just needs to be more education on Nigeria's history, where we're coming from, just so the youth know where we're going to. And that needs to be done on a large scale, a large scale. And so you begin to see the heavy lifting the government should be doing, but they just won't. So education must come up, and there must be a need for proved people to be in policymaking positions. And foreign powers should also come clean with their interests with developing countries. I'm speaking about Nigeria, but definitely Africa as a whole. There needs to be an autonomy there so that we can begin to flesh out our own ideals and push forward for a future that benefits Nigeria. The government needs to do better, and the youth just needs to stop dying. They need to stop killing the youth.